You're saying that I can't record over in this area. That's what you're saying, right?
Yeah, but it's not have nothing to do with freedom of speech.
Oh, it doesn't have anything to do with the First Amendment, recording?
Yeah.
Do you know what the First Amendment says?
Let us know if there's anything we can help you with.
I'm in the process of that right now. We've been in the middle of telling you what my business was, but then you walked away.
You need to back off.
Yeah, back up.
You need to push back.
Back up.
No.
Sir, you need to back up. Right?
No, I'm not moving anywhere, bud. I'm not moving anywhere.
Today, we're asking, what's up with that? And it all starts right now.
You need some help with look at that.
What's up with that? What's up with that?
What's going on, Playboy?
What's going on with the Playboy?
What is up with that? What is up with that?
Greetings and welcome to the all-new What's Up With That, the show where we ask, well, you know. So, I've been talking about doing this for a while, and let me break it down. So, this is going to be mostly about frauditors and sovcits. I mean, by now I think we all know what these people are about, but just in brief, sovereign citizens are people who, when you get right down to it, do not believe in the federal government. There's a subset of them called Moors, which takes it to an even more ridiculous level. But when you get to First Amendment auditors, or frauditors as we say, because they are fraudulently auditing the First Amendment, what they are about is less checking to make sure that everybody abides by the First Amendment, and more about deliberately stirring confrontations to get content for their YouTube channels. And they do it by going into places where they know people are going to object to being filmed. They go into places where there are things that prohibit it, like Poster 7 in post offices, signs at police stations, and so on and so forth. And when people rightly take exception to it, that's when confrontation happens. So the police show up and they address complaints of customers and patrons and staff and anybody else who's put off by what these people are doing. And like I said, they all claim that it's about the First Amendment, but you watch their content for more than 5 seconds and you get the idea that it's more, I say that it's more about generating content for their YouTube channels, but in some cases, I really think that what we're looking at is the manifestation of serious personality disorders. And in some cases, you might even push it so far as to say mental illness. I know that's a topic that tends to draw controversy, but I mean, realistically, there is basis for alleging that some of these people are exhibiting signs of mental illness. I mean, it is what it is. So the thing that I want to do with this series that is different than other channels is I want to try to dive in with a more analytical bent. I mean, there are some channels out there that just indiscriminately hurl insults at these people. They call them idiots and morons and yada, yada, yada. That's not me. So when I was trying to come up with something that would make this approach unique, I started to think, well, what if we looked at it from a law enforcement angle? But then again, that's what you have channels like KFAR and Laying Down the Law with Blue Bear for. Then you also have the legal aspects, which Dummy Kruger does a great job with. So ultimately, what I decided I wanted to do was take a look at frauditors and frauditor videos through 4 lenses, 4 criterion, whatever you want to call it. And this is what I want to do. So the first thing is I want to look at whether the protagonist, because let's be honest, they're all the protagonist of their own story, and in their minds, that makes them the hero, whether the protagonist actions are consistent with everyday people or if they're excessively provocative. Basically, whether what they're doing passes the reasonable person test, and I'm having to make gestures around the microphone here. For situations where they get arrested, number 2, for situations where they get arrested, whether the protagonist could have avoided the outcome by altering their behavior. And a recent hearing from Judge Simpson's court helped me come up with that one. Basically, Judge Simpson was admonishing a defendant that at several points along a particular incident, his actions could have been changed to prevent the eventual outcome without compromising what he wanted to do. And we'll talk about that later, I'm sure. 3, the big one, what, if any, disorders or mental illnesses the behaviors that we can see through their videos might indicate? And bear in mind, I'm not going to repurpose anyone else's coverage of these people. What I want to do is take the actual videos that frauditors and sovcits share themselves, where possible, if I can find them, and work through that so we have an unedited narrative to look at. And last but not least, if we think what we're seeing is just a person's genuine personality, or if we think they're playing it up for the cameras. And I say that because I look at the things that some of these people do and how many times they get arrested and how they treat other people. And from my perspective, it seems like it's insane. And I have a hard time accepting that anyone could go into these situations and do what these people are doing on purpose. And I hope and pray that all of these people are doing what they're doing less because it's what they legitimately believe and more because they're trying to create a character for the sake of YouTube. Yeah, and that's really the best and only comment I can make about that. So today's content is something that was recommended to me by Chief Tuttle, the country cop, and what we're going to do is we're going to look at a video from Denver Metro Audits, who I believe some of us may know as Christopher Cordova. There we go. And it's an incident where he was recording at a DMV, and according to his video title, security goes hands-on and calls the cops because he was recording. Now, I want to say what I really want to say for the commentary portion of our program, but I will give a general disclaimer. So that I'm aware of, no frauditor has ever been arrested solely for filming. Let me say that again. As far as I know, no one has ever been arrested solely for filming. It's always what they do while filming or because they're filming. It's always because they get right up on people and violate their personal space, or they go into post offices or places like the DMV and record people's personal information, or they trespass in places where they're not wanted. They go to courthouse lobbies or to courthouses and courtrooms and try to record. And if they do it in Michigan, KFAR recently reminded us that Michigan compiled laws, I want to say it's code 8.115, prohibits recording in courthouses without permission. And they go in and say, well, that's a sign, that's a policy, that's not law. And I mean, the short version is, that's why we call them frauditors. They claim that it's about enforcing the First Amendment to the Constitution. It's all about protecting our freedoms. And what I find ironic about some of these people is, if you look at what's happening in certain jurisdictions, cities, counties, other jurisdictions are passing legislation that restricts their activity. It's not, this is the thing, it's not specifically targeted at First Amendment auditing, but it does have a curtailing impact. So basically, they're harming their own stated cause. My favorite example of that is, and this may be someone we do a video on later on, but my favorite example is Annapolis Audits. You may have heard that this is someone that looks very young. For the longest time, we all thought he was like 19 or something, but it turns out he's in his 30s. He went to a city hall where a mayor had an open door policy that the mayor had to discontinue specifically because of Annapolis Audits behavior. And as I understand it, that specific city hall beefed up security after his visit and because of his behavior. So, I mean, you look at these people and they're doing more harm than good, is what it all comes down to. But again, I don't want to get too far ahead of what we're going to do. So down the line, once I get some particulars of our format down, it won't just be me. We'll, whenever his schedule permits, we'll be joined by KFAR. Whenever her schedule permits, we'll be joined by ScriptCat. Both of them are very knowledgeable on this topic. And if if another creator covers someone that I want to look at further, like Dummy Kruger recently did one on Afroman 365 audits. I want to take a closer look at Afroman, and I would like very much to collaborate with Dummy Kruger. There's been some other coverage of people like CH and Ty audits, some older stuff like who was it? Like Josh Abrams and Hot Tow Truck Girl and Breaking the Flaw. They went to a police lobby and were eventually kicked out by the police chief. There was the time that Tyrant Slayer Studios went to a police lobby in the name of public records requests, and he had the records custodian slam the window shut on him. Things that a lot of other people have covered. So whenever possible, I want to try to bring in some other people, all of whom are smarter than me, because let's be honest, who isn't smarter than me, to try to collaborate on this and lend their expertise. So with that said, let's have a look at this video by Denver Metro Audits. This one isn't that long. It's maybe 17 minutes. So I want to take a look at this, and we'll be talking about our three of our four criteria, maybe two of our four criteria as we watch it. And then I'll dive in at the end to the personality disorders or mental illnesses that he may exhibit, and then whether I think he's doing this because it's really what he believes or if he's playing it up for the cameras at the end. So with that said, let's have a look.
You're saying that I can't record over in this area. That's what you're saying, right?
Yeah, but it's not having
Okay, so this is...
So you
Me.
All right, so we skip through his prologue and get to his actual stuff.
Found out that this is the one where the Indian lady worked at the...
Right off the bat, we have a characterization of someone by their ethnicity, so one could argue that comment was racist.
The original DMV. I don't need permission to record you, miss.
Me? Why?
No.
It's my
Because-
picture, and I don't want
But
you
here's
to
the thing,
record
you have no expectation of privacy in public, ma'am. And you work for the public,
You
right?
are zooming in on me while I'm talking to you, so I.
I'm
expect
allowed to
that.
record you. You work for the public, right?
So this is something else that I hear from a lot of these people that is highly offensive. So they like to misuse the term public servant, because what they think that means is, or at least what it seems like they think that means, is a public servant is a public employee who is a servant to me personally, which is as far from the truth as it gets. And you see this a lot with police when they have run-ins with police. They're like, "You're my servant. You're a public servant. You work for me." And that's just not how it works. I actually think that there's something in certain jurisdictions that specifically says public employees do not work for any member of the public individually. And I think that's exactly what needs to happen. But let's continue. And for anyone who is not familiar with this individual, as his name implies, he is based out of Colorado, Denver, Colorado. And I believe that one of his alternate pseudonyms is the Mile High Auditor. And I will just leave that there, and you may draw your own conclusion. So let's continue.
And she's the one that doxed me, guys, so we're gonna go see what she has to say. I got Jennifer Weaver here with me, guys.
Hi, how's it going?
The sponsor of this video goes out to my friend Russ Topol, interested.
Let's skip over all of this.
There you go.
Hello.
How you doing?
All right, so let's take a look at this. So you heard him say it. We're going to this DMV basically to harass one of the employees. I mean, he didn't come out and say it, but that's exactly what that's basically what he said he was going to do. But now let's look at this. So he's going into a DMV with an accomplice, both of whom have phones that are recording. Now, for me, this already fails the reasonable person test, because I couldn't tell you the last time I went into a place with my phone up recording. And the reason I couldn't tell you when the last time I've done it is because I've never done it. And I don't know any normal, reasonable person who does that. More to the point, the DMV is it's a place of business, but it's a place of specific government business where people will be handling their private information. I mean, no ifs, ands, or buts. When a customer is at the teller window, and I just noticed the facial expression on the guy to right of frame here. That would probably be my reaction if I saw this guy and his accomplice coming in. But anyway, when you're at the window and you're discussing your situation and your legitimate business with the teller, I mean, who's to say that you're not discussing your personal and confidential information, your personally identifiable information, as we say, your PII? And realistically, the risk is that when these guys come in recording like this, they could capture some of that information. And knowing frauditors, their typical pattern would be, oh, I got this person's personal information. Let me record that. Let me publish it. Let me share it. And that's in the modern world, that's not a good thing. And yet, anytime you address these frauditors by their real names, or you talk about anything like where they live or anything like that, like what state they're in, they act like you're committing doxing. And it's like, no. No. Aside from not being doxing, if I say that Christopher Cordova here lives in the state of Colorado, that's nothing we don't already know from his username. So I don't know. And he's identified himself, and others have identified him by name, and it is what it is. So basically what I'm getting at is First Amendment auditors fail to appreciate irony. They're all about transparency for everybody else, but the second you turn a spotlight on them, they shrink away from it. And my favorite metaphor is they shrink away from it like cockroaches fleeing from the light. I mean, it's the way I see it. Let's see more.
James, window 2.
Yeah.
We're good, man. We're good. Thank you.
Okay, so I didn't hear what the security guard said, but the security guard was talking to him. All right, so now look at the reactions of all the patrons that we can see in frame here. I mean, they're all looking at this guy with that Whiskey Tango Foxtrot look. So no, this is not normal. This is not normal behavior.
James, window 2.
This guy's gonna follow us around.
Yes.
That's epic. This security guard is going to follow us around. And the security guard says, yes, I am. And he's right to. Because, again, in this day and age, what Denver Metro Audits here is doing qualifies as suspicious behavior. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This is atypical, aberrant behavior. And look at it from the perspective of the security guard. I mean, this guy could be casing the joint. He could be stalking somebody. I mean, the list of potential explanations for what he's doing is endless. And there's no easy way to say it. Very few of those explanations are innocent. A lot of them are traceable to various flavors of suspicious activity, various antisocial behaviors. I mean, so right off the bat, this security guard is right to be suspicious and to keep close to him. So let's see more.
Make
We don't need help, man. We're good. We came here for business, so. But I don't need to tell you. I don't have to tell you what my business is, so.
This is not a pub, but what are you here for, actually?
And here it is. So if you've seen any of these auditors go to a post office, they all claim that they have legitimate business, which usually takes the form of buying one stamp. And until they complete that business, I think under the law, they are allowed to remain on the premises unless lawfully trespassed. Now, the security guard here is doing the right thing by challenging them immediately and asking what their business is. Now, knowing Denver Metro Audits, he's going to blow a bunch of smoke at him. So let's see what he does.
I just told you, man. I don't have to tell you my business, but we appreciate you. You're kind of being a little stalkerish now, but I don't
Takes one to know one.
need your help. I'm just a member of the public. I am here for business. I don't have to tell you what my business is, so you can go back over there, man. We're good. But thank you for your help.
Yeah, but if you're recording people,
Huh?
I can't allow that.
You can't allow me to record people? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Oh, how come?
It's just the rules. I'm just doing my job.
The rules? Okay.
All right, so this is gonna. I have not watched this video, so we're watching this together. But I have a feeling that the comment that he just made, that the security guard just made, those are the rules, and I can't let you record. I have a feeling that's going to touch off the usual policy versus law debate, because that's something all of these frauditors like to do. If this were a post office, I guarantee you Denver Metro Audits would have looked at poster 7 right as he went in. And the first time we do a post office video, we'll take a look at what poster 7 says. But anyway, let's have more.
Well, I mean, I have my own rule too.
I have my own rule too.
That everyone I talk to has to give me $5 before we start the conversation. So.
That everyone who talks to me has to give me $5. So, yeah. Denver Metro Audits, how's that working out for you?
It's my own personal rule. You know, you want to give me $5 or?
James, right? Sorry, I don't have $5.
Oh, okay. Well, because here's the thing, man. You don't actually have to give me $5, right? It's kind of silly, and I don't actually have to stop recording in here because this is public.
And there it is. So this is one of the most common arguments that you hear from First Amendment auditors. They like to say, this is public property, and I can record anything I can see because you can't trespass my eyes. But as I said earlier, there are privacy concerns, and there are several other kinds of concerns in general when people are recording in facilities like this.
This isn't private. This is open to the public, and it's public, and I told you I have business here, so I'm absolutely allowed to record my interaction in public. There's no expectation of privacy in a public setting.
So here's something else. They all like to say there's no expectation of privacy. The other half of that is they like to say that if you're in public and you want privacy, you yourself have to create that privacy. And about the worst thing that anyone can say to that is, well, you're right. Let me create privacy, because it shuts these people down. But see, even that sets them off. Frauditors and sovcits all have the same kind of shtick where the moment you meet their demands for the first time, the goalpost moves. So he could say to this guy, I'm in public and you have no expectation to privacy. So if he says you need to create privacy and this security guard creates privacy, then in DMA's mind, he's violating DMA's First Amendment rights by creating privacy for others. I mean, it's just on and on and on.
Which this is. Now, obviously, I can't go behind there in the restricted area and record. That's closed off to the public. But anywhere where the public is allowed to be, I can record.
Okay, so here he hasn't said it yet, but I have a feeling he will. But another common argument that you hear from these guys is that they are media, that they're independent journalists working on a story. Now, personally, I've never seen a story from even one of these people. But that's neither here nor there. But what I have a feeling he's building towards is making an argument about being media. Now, here's the thing. Claiming to be media is not an all-access pass because, yes, journalists are allowed to be, in general, anywhere that the public is allowed to be. But it's not a catch-all. I mean, I've seen plenty of situations where legitimate journalists have shown up, like the camera crews for the evening news say. They'll show up, like maybe at a school or something, but the school will say, we don't want you recording on our grounds because you might potentially capture a minor or something like that. So the camera crews will shoot in the parking lot with an angle away from the school. That way they are on location, but they're not risking compromising anyone's information or identity. And that is something that no First Amendment auditor I've ever seen actually gets. So let's continue.
Yeah, that is true.
All right.
That is true. But what kind of business are you here for?
Sir, I don't need to tell you my business. I don't need to tell you my business. You're actually preventing me from doing the business as soon as...
Okay, so I know I'm stopping this a lot, but there's a lot to unpack about what DMA is saying. So he's claiming that he doesn't have to state his business, but I'm pretty sure, and people like Paul Carroll that understand this stuff better than I do will probably tell you better on this. But I'm pretty sure that if you're in a place of business like this and you're not conducting the business of the facility, then you're loitering. And I'm pretty sure loitering is a chargeable offense in most jurisdictions. In every jurisdiction with which I am familiar, loitering is a chargeable offense. It may even be arrestable. I'm not sure. But I know that there are reasonable restrictions on things like this for time, place, and time, purpose, and context, or time, place, and context, or something like that. And again, I wish Paul Carroll was with us for this one, but in this case, the purpose of a DMV is to conduct businesses related to the division of motor vehicles. I mean, that's what it's there for. That's what the facility's name is for. And Denver Metro Audits is not doing anything that is commensurate with that mission. So I would say this is loitering, but that's just me.
If you leave us alone, then I can continue with my business.
Oh, and here's another thing. They all basically like to say, well, leave me alone to just do what I want. And it's like, no, you're not a 5-year-old child. We're not just going to let you do whatever the heck you want and just let you run around. And I could say a lot about this, but I really think that part of it with at least some of these people is that they lack respect for authority. Now, the key question to be answered is, does lack of respect for authority come about because of YouTube, or are they YouTubing because they lack respect for authority? I mean, it's a chicken and the egg situation. So in Denver Metro Audits' case, I mean, having seen all of his content, part of me thinks that what we're seeing is the real deal. I think this is just how he is, and he's going around to do what he does because he gets some perverse kick out of it. So we are not very far into this. I'm going to jump us ahead. I'm going to jump us ahead to
Yeah.
Okay, so now is when we have what looks like a supervisor having shown up, someone who actually can speak with authority on behalf of the DMV. So we've just skipped over a significant chunk of this video, but realistically, I'll be honest, I can't sit through these things. Even when people that are covering these people chop them down, I have a hard time sitting through the parts of this where the frauditors are doing what they do. So I don't think it's reasonable to expect you folks to sit through it. So I'm just going to kind of cover the highlights that I think are relevant. So with that said, let's have a look.
We were here for business, so can I get your name?
My name's Mike.
Mike? Mm-hmm. Get your last name?
I don't give last names.
You're a
Boom.
public employee though, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you don't want to give your last name?
No.
You're just going to make me do a records request for it?
And this is something that makes these people so, I don't want to say dangerous, but it makes them suspicious, because the purpose of records request is not to get anyone's individual identity, because in this day and age, like I said, that can lead to stalking, that can lead to a lot of other things that no rational person wants to deal with. So, but they try to use that as a threat. So that's kind of lending to my theory that what we're seeing is Denver Metro Audits as he really is.
If there's something else I can help you with, I'll be happy to.
Yeah, there is actually something you can help us with, because we're here for business. So number one,
What business are you continuing? We are a driver's license office.
Yeah.
That's the business we're attending. So we're going to work on that. I've got to get back to work. Let us know if there's anything we can help you with.
I'm in the process of that right now. We're in the middle of telling you what my business was, but then you walked away.
And I honestly can't say I blame this guy. I wouldn't want to deal with someone like Denver Metro Audits either after being treated with that kind of disrespect. But that's just me.
Look at this guy.
You can't be near the counters either. I need you to back up.
Okay, actually that's not, I don't think so, bud.
Yeah. You can't be near the counters.
You can't pass the cameras. You can record in this area, but you can't pass this area.
I'm not over in that area. I'm not over in that area.
A little bit, just a little bit.
No, I'm not over in that area.
So this security officer, this is another pet peeve of mine. This security officer, as far as I can tell, is being polite and professional. And he's requesting that Denver Metro Audits vacate the area where sensitive activity is happening in the form of the customer transactions. But listen to how Denver Metro Audits is talking to him. This is just me, but if I'm in a public place like this and someone makes a reasonable request that I move elsewhere, I mean, it's not harmful to me, so I'm going to do it. I mean, it's about showing respect for others. And I have never seen any of these auditors treat public employees like this with respect.
I'm not behind the counter. Right there is the sign that says no customer access except for restroom use. I'm not back there.
They pretty much don't want you like.
I don't care where they want me. I don't care where they want me, bud. I want you to take your shoes off right now, bud. Can you do that? See how ridiculous that is?
I think if Keeping It Criminal were here, he would call that reductum ad absurdum, basically taking a reasonable argument and stretching it to and past its reasonable extreme. I mean, when was the last time, well, I was going to say, when was the last time you heard someone request someone else take their shoes off in public? But, I mean, if you've flown lately, you know that's part of the TSA process. But, I mean, other than that, these people.
You can't tell me to do what you want me to do. I do what I'm lawfully allowed to do.
That is true.
So I can stand, I can stand right here. You can stand right here, as close to this part right here. See how close I am? Except for restrooms, of course. I can be right here. This is as close as I can get.
No.
Yes,
You cannot see any of the dump stuff on the desk back here. You need to back off.
Yeah, back up.
You need to push back. You can still see paperwork back here. We have privacy issues, and we need you to move.
What law is that, sir?
It's policy.
Policy is not.
There it is, law versus policy. So now that's going to set off an argument with DMA about law versus policy. I got news for you. If you're in a place like this, you are subject to their policies, and if you don't comply with posted policy, you can be removed from the premises. And as far as I know, that's how it works in every office for every function and every private business. And I got to tell you something. Private businesses would have probably put this guy out by now. Because what he's doing, like I said earlier, what he's doing is several flavors of suspicious behavior.
Law. Look how close. Don't touch me, sir. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. Look how close he is to me, guys.
Yeah, I am.
Look how close he is to me. Don't touch me. Don't touch me.
Have a good day.
You need to back
Do not
up,
touch
sir.
me.
You need to back up.
I do not need to go anywhere.
Yes, you do, sir.
Do not touch
It's
me.
reasonable
Do not
as
touch me.
possible.
Don't touch me. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. Look how close he is to me, guys. Look how close he is to me. Don't touch me. Don't touch me.
So he keeps saying, and I didn't do the perspective switch. I guess when he put this video together, this is what he did. But you hear him saying, "Don't touch me! Don't touch me! Don't touch me!" Well, as far as I can tell, the security guard is not touching him, and as far as we can tell from the footage previously, the security guard did not touch him.
You need to back up.
touch me.
You need to back up.
I do not need to go
Yes,
anywhere.
you do, sir. You're trying to be as reasonable as possible. I say you can be recorded right there. It's perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine to be recorded right there. I don't understand why you got to do that.
Did you hear what the security guard just said? He said, "I don't understand." It sounded to me like he said, "I don't understand why you have such a problem with this." And I don't understand. Well, I do understand it either. The guy's a narcissist, but referring to Denver Metro Audits being a narcissist. And I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's watch more.
I already told you that you can't record right. Can you respect them? Respect them.
Going live.
All right. So I'm going to skip forward a little more.
Stop touching me. Don't touch me.
I'm just moving to the same spot.
You're touching me. You're touching me. Stop.
Watch this.
You gotta move back, sir.
Sir, you have to move back.
Here's something else that these guys can't stand, and that's a camback. You see what the supervisor here is doing. He pulled out his own phone, and he's recording these people right back. And frauditors hate that. They hate when others take their picture or record them doing what they do. And I didn't understand it at first, but then once I started watching coverage, and I realized that frauditors will heavily edit their videos to support their narrative. As we just saw, Denver Metro Audits appears to have cut together the streams from 2 different cameras for this, and there's no telling what he might have cut out. Now, to be fair, up until now, each camera input has been a single unbroken stream, which, you know, I appreciate that, but to me, that doesn't really mean anything. Anytime there's a cut, there is a possibility for something to have been excised. However, when someone does what this gentleman on the left of frame is doing, there is another record that they can't control. That's also why they hate security cameras, because security cameras show the full encounter with no edits, and it has the potential to undermine their their argument. As far as I know, Denver Metro Audits did not make any arguments about security cameras in this video, but it wouldn't surprise me if I've heard it in plenty of other videos. So let's continue.
The owner of this area asked you to
Owner
go
of
back.
the area? Who's the owner of the area? This guy's bumping into me, guys. He's bumping into me now. He's touching me right
That's
now.
because you are
touching
encroaching on our privacy and the privacy of the public.
Sir, I'm not
Scoot
here to
back,
record
sir.
anyone's
Sir.
personal information. It says right there, stop touching me. Don't touch me.
It says right there, stop touching me. I know that's not what he meant to say, but it's still kind of funny.
I'm not touching you.
Yes, you were.
What
You were bumping
need-
into me
what
before.
You need to,
You're bumping into me
back
before.
New policy.
You're bumping into me before.
New policy.
the sign is moved, so now you have to move where the sign is at. I don't know why you're making this so difficult, sir.
You hear that? I don't know why you're making this so difficult yet. And you heard it. They were trying to just work with them on the basis of the policy that they had based on the sign that was posted, but they had to toughen up. It's Annapolis Audits all over again.
I don't know why you're making
Back,
it
sir, you gotta move back.
Why are
behind
you
the
making it
stop
so
sign.
difficult?
You
Sir,
gotta
can you
move
No, I
back
just
behind
saw
the
you
stop
move
sign.
that. I just saw you move that.
New policy.
There's no new
That's-
policy. There is no new policy.
That's it
It
right
doesn't matter policy, man. What matters law.
Sir, move
The law
back.
is what matters, not the policy, bud.
Sir, move back.
Look how close this guy is to me.
Yes,
Look,
I
he's
am
touching
close.
me right now. He's touching me, guys.
You've got to
Sir,
move.
you have to move.
I don't have to
You're
move
bothering
anywhere.
the
I don't have to move
customers,
anywhere. You
nagging
guys are the one that
charges.
created the conflict.
And need
You
to
guys.
see them-
Hold it. I'm going to call BS on that one. You guys are the ones who created the conflict. No. They are the ones that approached him. But again, going back to what Judge Simpson had to say to the defendant in his court, and I may play part of that for you at the end of this video so you can see what I'm talking about. But there would be nothing to have conflict over at all if Denver Metro Audits hadn't shown up with a camera trying to record in an area that they've already told him puts personal information at risk. So who created the conflict again? I think blame for that one goes to Denver Metro Audits.
Created the
back.
conflict, not me.
You need to move back, sir.
You need to back up. Stop getting
gotta
so
move
close
back.
to me.
You
You
need
need
to
to
move
back
back.
up. I'm not moving nowhere.
Back up.
I'm
sir.
not moving
Sir,
anywhere.
Back up.
No,
Sir, you need to back up. Right
no,
now.
I'm not moving anywhere, bud. I'm not moving anywhere. You need to back up, bud.
No, I'm not moving.
Yeah, I'm not moving either, bud. Look, he's touching me.
You're just-
He's touching me, guys. So we'll just sit here. This guy wants to try to intimidate me.
That's not
Talking about their
intimidating.
policy and this and that, guys. Here at the DMV. This is the one on, what's the address here?
And here he goes about to basically dox the facility. So I'm going to skip ahead a little more because I believe the cops show up at some point, and I want to try to get us to that point. Oh, it looks like there's a confrontation with a patron here. Let's see what that's about.
What's your name?
Oh, my name is Theo. Nice to meet you.
Theo?
Yes, Theo.
To her being on camera.
What's that?
My daughter's a minor, and I haven't consented to her being on camera.
Oh, it doesn't matter, ma'am.
Well, we're not looking at your
I'm
daughter.
not trying to record your minor,
My
but
daughter's right up here.
it doesn't matter, ma'am. She doesn't,
We're
she's
not
in public.
focused on your daughter.
Like when I
She is a
record,
minor.
it doesn't matter. I record my nephew's sports games, ma'am. It's not a
Okay, so again, there's a difference between trying to record a sports game and recording in a situation like this. And PSA to anybody who's out there, recording minors in a public setting like this is never a good idea. That is most definitely suspicious behavior. And if this patron doesn't call the police over this, she should. Hopefully she does. But let's have a look.
crime in public.
Pretty sure he asked you to be there. My
Doesn't
daughter
matter.
did not.
Oh yeah, and that's the difference. At a sports game, you're invited. Here, you just show up. And in my mind, that's a big difference.
It doesn't
asked her to
matter
be here.
that all the other kids didn't ask me to be there.
Okay, see now you're bothering the customer.
No,
were really
they're
bothering
engaging
me
with
now.
me. I didn't
So-
start a conversation with anyone. They're
So now
coming
you're
to me.
bothering the customers. You
do,
can't bother the
especially
customers. You can't.
minors.
We're not even looking at you.
She doesn't want to report her daughter. That's why I say you just have to be right
Look, if we
there.
can help you any way, we will.
I've been trying
If
to
we
tell
can
you my
help
business, but then you
And gotta give major props to this guy. He's saying, you're coming in, you're pissing off customers, you're violating our policy, but we still want to try to help you if we can because that's our job. And I don't know that I would have this degree of patience, but that's just me. So let's continue.
walked away. And
Well, if your
ignored me.
business isn't to do with the driver's
it does.
license,
It is have to do.
do you
with
need
here.
to come up to a? Do you need to be issued?
I have business. I need to do public records request, and I also needed to get your name, but you wouldn't give it to me.
So you can go ahead and film. Don't bother anybody. Okay.
I never
Eh,
bothered anyone. You guys are bothering me.
So
hey, you guys are bothering me. We don't care about you. We care about the people that are here for legitimate reasons.
Continue on.
Yes,
Stay
I'm
behind
gonna
the sign,
continue on.
please. You need to stay behind the sign.
That's
All right?
the only thing
We've
that
got
is-
personal information all the way down this row here. You need to back up.
The only thing we're recording is you two right here.
Okay, continue on.
Tell you, yeah, guys.
So let's skip forward a little bit.
I'm gonna go over here and get a drink.
Use that pen to verify that the information is correct.
So he goes to get water. Then he goes back out. And on his way back out, look at this. He gets a wide shot of the entire lobby. And these people are looking at him like, what the heck is wrong with you? So now we're talking to the security guard again. He's filming more patrons. And let's see. Again, I just don't get it. Let's see what the exchange is with this guy.
Our Constitution. I know the Bill of Rights pretty well, but I don't know every single right. No, I'm not an attorney.
What about privacy?
What about it? Like, school me, man. Why don't you educate
No,
me?
I don't need to.
No, I mean, you're trying to ask me if I know about privacy. Why don't you tell me the law?
You have
states-
every right to record
Yeah,
in a place like this.
absolutely. Which is what I came in peacefully to do until they started creating a scene.
So do what you got to do. Just maintain yourself at a lower.
It's frustrating because this guy was like bumping into me.
It's frustrating because the guy was bumping into me. Well, the guy wouldn't have been bumping into you if you weren't, as the supervisor said, trying to encroach in a restricted area. I can't listen to this. So now, now more people are noticing him, and he got one who looks like he's mugging for the camera. So, yeah, again, this is creepy behavior. I don't want to play this, but it looks like she's saying to him, why are you doing this? So trying to engage with these people is a waste of time because they don't subscribe to the same standards and common sense and common decency that we do. So I'm going to skip ahead to, I believe they said the police were called, and
Umbrella. Home, auto, or umbrella.
On her phone. I'm engaging with you because you engaged with me.
If you're in the state of Colorado and you need home, auto, or umbrella insurance, call me.
Let's get it. She wants advertising.
Yeah, home, auto, umbrella. You want somebody who's actually going to care for you instead of this fucking asshole?
Home, auto, umbrella?
Yeah.
I had no idea that was there, but that was brilliant.
I was gonna put
Give
the
me a
phone
call.
down. Turn on. Let me
You
get
can
the phone.
Google me. It's on there. I'm not hiding shit.
Yeah, so I've seen this before too from some other people, and a certain someone who I won't name was in a legal dispute with someone and was basically having people, his acolytes, leave 1-star reviews and nasty comments on the Google review site for the opposing counsel. And I and many others countered that by giving them good reviews. But I mean, these people will have members of the public do stuff like this. They'll basically set these people up to be targeted for harassment, and they'll always say, "Oh, but don't go and harass these people. That's bad." It's like, yeah, it's like, don't call this number. It's like, dude. So let's. I mean, you see some of the comments there, and it's insane. But let's continue. So here comes another patron confrontation.
So you're a fan?
I'm definitely a fan.
Right on, dude.
Watch
Can I
it all
shake
the
your
time.
hand?
Yep. Yeah,
Sorry
of
if my
course.
hands are a little bit sweaty,
Yeah,
dude.
no,
I'm
you're
nervous
good.
here, so I think the cops are on their way.
Yeah.
How long you been?
So not a confrontation. He's got a fanboy there. All right, so
you guys can see this sign right here. Was over there by Theo, and then I was over there, and the manager moved the sign over here.
and the manager moved it because a reasonable sign was being encroached upon and violated by someone who isn't reasonable. So he moved it to deal with the unreasonable person. So I'm not really interested.
Yeah, do you have an appointment?
No, is it appointment only?
Yes, sir.
Well, I'd have to make an appointment to do a public records request.
Yes.
I'm not here to get a license or.
You just need
renew.
like your driving record?
No, I need to get an employee's name,
Okay.
full name, date of hire, and salary. 2 employees.
If you like, I can just direct you to one of my manager because I can't give you that information.
But the manager over there, Mike, he was refusing to help me.
Okay, well then if he was refusing, then I can't help you as well. He is our manager that is here today, and if he cannot give you that information, I can give you Mike so he can give you that information if you like.
Yeah, maybe you can get him to come over and service the public. That'd be
Sure,
great.
give me 1 moment.
Thank you, ma'am. So what did he say?
So there he goes, trying to get the guy's personal information.
Here we go, guys.
So if I can help you with something the services that we provide here, be happy to. What can I do for you?
So one of those services I just need to get your last name.
No.
Okay. So I
And what Mike is doing here is exactly what you should do with these people. He just says no, and there's no discussion, there's no argument. That's what it takes to deal with these people. Just shut them down and let them know that you will enforce reasonable boundaries no matter what they say.
need to do a public records request.
Okay.
For 2 employees.
For 2 employees.
I need full name, salary, date of hire.
I'm not equipped to do that for you. Yeah, it's not one of our services.
Well, it is. You just don't realize that it is, sir.
Okay.
We have a law.
All right, so nothing to me displays narcissism more than what he just said. Well, it is, you just don't realize it. As if Denver Metro Audits knows the law and practices for this business. I mean, I don't really know if business is the right word to use when talking about the DMV, but you get what I'm saying. But he's acting like he knows better than this supervisor does. And my guess is Mike here has been doing this job for more than just an hour or 2. So he knows what he's talking about. Whereas Denver Metro Audits, if he has the same grasp of law and policy that most other First Amendment auditors do, knows nothing. So let's continue.
The right to obtain that information.
Okay.
You wanna just
Well,
hand
we can't do it today. So
Well,
if there's
you
any
can.
other thing I can
I'm
help
here
you
to
with,
do that.
I will. I'll be glad to help you with anything
can you just
you
grab
got
me a
going
piece of
on.
paper and a pen?
So,
I
no,
can write it down?
no,
No?
don't have any extra.
What were you trying
So,
to
Don't have any extra.
just go.
That's hilarious. You don't have any
that's
extra
good,
papers
huh?
then?
Yeah.
Well, since when did the DMV become the office supply depot for any First Amendment frauditor who happens to walk in? I'm going to skip through this until the police arrive. Hey, sir, you can't be bothering my employees. That's what the frauditors don't see it that way. Or at least if they do see it that way, they feel like they're entitled to bother people. I want to see what happens when the police arrive. Because allegedly they were called. Okay.
Into me and
So this is the end of the video. I guess Denver Metro Audits appears to have done what a lot of frauditors do. They'll cut the video right before the police arrive or right before they get arrested so that they can preserve their narrative. So let's see. Looks like there's about 3 minutes left. So let's see what he has to say for himself.
5 minutes straight. So this guy might seem like he's cool now, but you should see the live stream. You'll see it on the static video, guys. This guy is.
And you've noticed all the edits that we've had to this point. He includes that fancy dissolve transition. So he's editing things out. Now, to be fair, it could be just editing out dead air. There are a lot of frauditors that will just have hours and hours and hours of dead air on their live streams. So if that is all he edited out, then it's a saving grace for all of us. But somehow I don't think so. So let's see.
It's ridiculous, man. And what we want is for the behavior to change. So next time, because we're going to come back now. We would have been out of here and gone forever, but since the way you guys acted, we're going to have to come back. So when we come back next time, as long as you don't give me unlawful directives and bump it. All right, then, Theo. Have a good one, man.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Okay, guys, so there you can see the DMV over here in Arapahoe County, which is in Parker, are lawless. Mike, the supervisor, refused us service. Initially said he was going to call the police on us. They did call the police on us, and they didn't even show up.
No.
And finally, we stuck around long enough, and he wanted to get rid of us, so he actually did his job and took our public records request.
Oh, there's coffee and donuts right there.
That's all we're there for, guys. So I want to give a shout out to the sponsor of this video, Russ Topol. Thanks for your continued.
Okay, so let's talk about this. So first things first. So to look at our criteria. So are Denver Metro Audits' activities consistent with everyday people? Like, would everyday people walk in specifically to try to harass a specific employee that works there? And more broadly than that, would an everyday person walk in with a camera up trying to film the premises? The answer is no to both. So first criteria, no, it doesn't pass the reasonable person test. For situations involving arrests, would the protagonist, could they have avoided the outcome by altering their behavior? There was no arrest this time, but I do think that the question is still valid because he was accusing the employees of that facility of starting conflict, and everything that happened there could have been avoided, yes, if Denver Metro Audits and his accomplice had changed their behavior. So, could the protagonist have avoided the outcome by altering his behavior? The answer is yes, he could have. He brought everything that happened that he disagreed with on himself. So now, here's the fun part, or here's the important part. What, if any, disorders or mental illnesses does his behavior indicate? So to answer that, we're going to go to the Mayo Clinic, which is where we're going to get all of our definitions of things of this nature. So personally, I believe that what we're seeing indicates two disorders. One, narcissistic personality disorder. You probably saw that one coming already, but let's look at what the Mayo Clinic defines narcissistic personality disorder as. So according to them, narcissistic personality disorder, and I quote, one of several types of personality disorders, is a mental condition in which people have an inflated sense of their own importance, a deep need for excessive attention and admiration, troubled relationships, and a lack of empathy for others. But behind this mask of extreme confidence lies a fragile self-esteem that's vulnerable to the slightest criticism. Think about all the times that you've seen Chili just go nuts the second his beliefs get challenged. So I think narcissistic personality disorder is a term that could apply to many people. But let's continue. A narcissistic personality disorder causes problems in many areas of life, such as relationships, work, school, or financial affairs. People with narcissistic personality disorder may be generally unhappy and disappointed when they are not given the special favors or admiration they believe they deserve. They may find their relationships unfulfilling, and others may not enjoy being around them. So let's skip down to some of the common symptoms. I'm not going to read all of this to you because you can see it, but I want to highlight just a couple that I think we saw in what we just watched. Exaggerated sense of self-importance, have a sense of entitlement and require constant excessive admiration. He certainly has a sense of entitlement. Expect to be recognized as superior even without achievements that warrant it. I mean, what you just saw speaks for itself. Be preoccupied with fantasies about success, power, brilliance, beauty. I really and truly think that what we just saw is Denver Metro Audits attempting to live out a fantasy about his own success and power. You saw the condescending way he was talking to those people. Believe that they are superior and can only associate with equally special people. You saw who he had there with him. It was someone else who clearly has the same beliefs as he does. Monopolize conversations and belittle or look down on people they perceive as inferior. You heard me point out that he tried to call these people public servants and that he treated them terribly as a result of that. So another one, expect special favors and unquestioning compliance with their expectations. This is the most common thing that you see with First Amendment auditors, and we absolutely saw that with Denver Metro Audits today. Take advantage of others to get what they want. I don't think that necessarily applies here. I do think that that applies to a certain frauditor out of Omaha. You can probably guess who I'm referring to, but we'll deal with that on another day. have an inability or unwillingness to recognize the needs and feelings of others. Yes, and here's how that manifested today. When the patron came up and was talking about disliking that he was recording her minor child, and he was like, I don't care. There's no other explanation. There's no other way to describe it. Behave in an arrogant or haughty manner, coming across as conceited, boastful, and pretentious. Does anyone really believe that pretentious does not apply to what we just saw from Denver Metro Audits? At the same time, people with narcissistic personality disorder have trouble handling anything they perceive as criticism, and they can. See how many of these you think apply today. Become impatient or angry when they don't receive special treatment, have significant interpersonal problems and easily feel slighted, react with rage or contempt and try to belittle the other person to make themselves appear superior, have difficulty regulating emotions and behavior, experience major problems dealing with stress and adapting to change. You'd require multiple data points for that one. So I don't know that this one rises to that level. Feel depressed and moody because they fall short of perfection and have secret feelings of insecurity, shame, vulnerability, and humiliation. I think Denver Metro Audits meets more of these than not. What do you think? Drop a comment below and sound off on what you think. Here's the best part. When to see a doctor. People with narcissistic personality disorder may not want to think that anything could be wrong, so they may be unlikely to seek treatment. If they do seek treatment, it's more likely to be for symptoms of depression, drug or alcohol abuse, or another mental health problem. But perceived insults to self-esteem may make it difficult to accept and follow through with treatment. If you recognize aspects of your personality that are common to narcissistic personality disorder, or you're feeling overwhelmed by sadness, consider reaching out to a trusted doctor or mental health provider. Getting the right treatment can help make your life more rewarding and enjoyable. So, I can't speak for Denver Metro Audits. I mean, this is something that only he could speak to, but personally, I do think he fits enough of the criterion here that there is an active disorder in progress, if that's what you want to call it. But there may not be, there may be more than one. So let's take a look at the other one that I think he has or suffers from, and that is antisocial personality disorder. So let's have a look at this, and you guys tell me what you think about whether I'm reading the situation right or if I'm just being overly critical. According to the Mayo Clinic, antisocial personality disorder, which they say can also be called sociopathy, is, quote, a mental disorder in which a person consistently shows no regard for right and wrong and ignores the rights and feelings of others. People with antisocial personality disorder tend to antagonize, manipulate, or treat others harshly or with callous indifference. They show no guilt or remorse for that behavior. Individuals with antisocial personality disorder often violate the law, becoming criminals. They may lie, behave violently or impulsively, and have problems with drug and alcohol use. Because of these characteristics, people with this disorder typically can't fulfill responsibilities related to family, work, or school. And again, think of how many other First Amendment auditors you've seen that have criminal records for family-related incidents, that are unemployed and unemployable, and lack any indication that they have real education. Let's see what some of the symptoms of this one are. Antisocial personality disorder signs and symptoms may include disregard for right and wrong. Yep. Persistent lying or deceit to exploit others. You could make an argument about this one. I don't necessarily think that Denver Metro Audits was lying necessarily in an attempt to exploit others, so that one's questionable. Being callous, cynical, and disrespectful to others. Yep. Using charm or wit to manipulate others for personal gain or personal pleasure. Again, I don't necessarily think we saw that one here. But look at this next one. Arrogance, a sense of superiority, and being extremely opinionated, yeah. Recurring problems with the law, including criminal behavior, and again, Denver Metro Audits has had more encounters with law enforcement than I can count. I actually looked on his channel for this, but there was an incident where he was auditing a sidewalk, I believe, and a member of the public that was on that sidewalk took exception. And I think that may have been an incident where Denver Metro Audits paid for his misdeeds. And there was something not that long after that where he posted a video where he was e-begging. He was wearing a cardigan. He was crying and he was pleading for financial support to do something. May have been a lawsuit. I don't know. But things like that happen to these auditors a lot. And if you are Schrodinger's cat, rest in peace, used to say that you have to lie to fraud it. And I would argue that that phrase doesn't necessarily go far enough, because you basically have to not care about anybody but yourself to fraud it. And like I said, it leads them into confrontations with law enforcement that they lose. They get arrested, they get charged, and I'm so glad to say, now that the old C virus is finally abating, police are starting to arrest them, prosecutors are beginning to charge them, and courts are beginning to follow those cases through to their end. And it's wonderful. And I think that we're already seeing a reduction in levels of activity because of it. These people are going to jail. They're off the streets for a while, and it's terrific for me at least to see. So anyway, let's get through the rest of this. Repeatedly violating the rights of others through intimidation and dishonesty. Again, his behavior. He said that the security guard Theo was trying to intimidate him. I didn't see that, but what I did see was that Denver Metro Audits was trying to intimidate others. He was trying to intimidate patrons that were there, and he was certainly trying to intimidate the supervisor, Mike, by threatening to file a records request for his information. Impulsiveness or failure to plan ahead. The video speaks for itself. Hostility, significant irritability, agitation, aggression, or violence. Again, the video speaks for itself. Lack of empathy for others and lack of remorse about harming others. This is a big one. In any situation where you're at risk of recording minors over the objection of their parent or guardian, which in this case we saw, that demonstrates there is potential harm, but he was absolutely unrepentant. So this one, definitely. Poor or abusive relationships. I don't claim to know what Denver Metro Audits' personal life is like, but when we talk about poor or abusive relationships, names like Patrick Roth come to mind. And I'm sure there are others. If you can think of any frauditor who might have had multiple run-ins of the law because of poor or abusive relationships, let us know in the comments. I'm pretty sure KFAR would say that a lot of these people have records for domestic incidents, shall we say. Failure to consider the negative consequences of behavior or learn from them. No frauditor ever learns from their behavior. That's really all I have to say about that. Being consistently irresponsible and repeatedly failing to fulfill work or financial obligations. Well, that one's never a problem because, as far as I know, no First Amendment frauditor, or at least the vast majority of them, none of them have jobs. None of them can get jobs because of what their activities have led them to do. And I know for a fact that there are certain jobs that you are not eligible to hold if you have an arrest record. I'd have to do some digging to find out what Denver Metro Audits' arrest record looks like. So I don't know what it looks like, if he's got one or anything like that. That's me admitting there's things I don't know, which frauditors don't do. But let's go down and have a look at some more symptoms that the Mayo Clinic provides. Adults with antisocial personality disorder typically show symptoms of conduct disorder before the age of 15. Signs and symptoms of conduct disorder include serious, persistent behavior problems such as aggression toward people and animals, destruction of property, deceitfulness, theft, and serious violation of rules. Although antisocial personality disorder is considered lifelong, in some people, certain symptoms, particularly destructive and criminal behavior, may decrease over time. But it's not clear whether this decrease is a result of aging or an increased awareness of the consequences of antisocial behavior. Having watched a certain First Amendment auditor slash sovcit, maybe, having watched him age and claim that he can't hold a real job because of his age and certain disabilities, I question whether any of these people ever really learns from what they do. But again, we'll talk about that on another day. Let's finish up with when the Mayo Clinic suggests people with antisocial personality disorder see a doctor. They say, people with antisocial personality disorder are unlikely to seek help on their own. If you suspect that a friend or family member may have the disorder, you might gently suggest that the person seek help from a mental health professional and offer to help them find one. So there you have it. So those are the symptoms of 2 personality disorders that I think Denver Metro Audits exhibits. Now, here's the key question. Are we seeing the symptoms of a potential of one or more mental disorders or mental illnesses manifest through Denver Metro Audits' behavior, or is what we're seeing more driven by profit? In other words, is he behaving the way that he's behaving because he knows that he'll be able to monetize the video, people will tune in to see it, and he'll be able to make money? In Denver Metro Audits' case, I would say that we're probably seeing his genuine personality shining through. In other words, I don't think that he's doing this just for clicks and views. I mean, I've seen enough of his live streams. I've seen enough coverage of him. I really think that what he's doing is Denver Metro Audits unfiltered. So does he have either of these disorders? I'm not a medical health professional. I'm not a mental health professional, so I can't say for sure. But what I am saying is the shoe appears to fit with these 2. And I would go on to say that he's probably not the only one that these 2 descriptions could apply to. So that's what I think. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Does Denver Metro Audits have narcissistic or antisocial personality disorder? Do you see traits of something else? Drop a comment below and let's chat. But meantime, that's all for now. That's Denver Metro Audits for you. We may do some other videos of his down the line, but for right now, this was the one that grabbed my attention when I looked at his channel. So thanks everybody for tuning in. Stay tuned, because going forward, we'll have KFAR, we'll have ScriptCat, and we'll probably have some other special guest commentators as we go forward, as I see people covering things. So in the meantime, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on What's Up With That. Bye-bye, everybody.